Joyce, the voice of Joyce, waiting here for my guest from India. I haven't seen her in 7 years. I'm really looking forward to seeing her. What an amazing tool Zoom is. Imagine staying in your home in New York and visiting with someone in India. Well, should be along shortly. Let's see what happens. Hi.
Hello. Hey.
Hi, you look the same.
You look the same too with your brooch. I love your butterfly brooch.
The brooch is the same, but look at the white hair after what, 4 or 5 months of isolation.
Okay.
Are you?
How have you been? How's life with you? What are you doing these days? How are you based?
How have I been? I have been fine, actually. Still writing, still blogging, still being an activist, trying to get rapid tests, a common way to crush the virus. I don't know if you have them in India, but
Yeah.
you do have the rapid tests. How fast do you get results?
Oh, I don't know. I'm sorry. I thought you were asking the rate of the virus spreading in India, but I don't know the rapid tests in India.
How is the infection treating you?
It's difficult here. It's very difficult. In Chennai, especially, it's very difficult where I live. I live in the South India, in Chennai, and there are at least more than 2,000 cases a day, positive cases a day, 1,000 to 2,000 positive cases a day, and it's quite difficult. It's very challenging for healthcare workers. It's challenging for the supply chain, so that goods and services are. It's difficult generally, but the government is managing. It's not so bad because we're all doing okay, but in some places it's difficult. But I mean, I'm not going to complain because compared to many parts of the world, I think we should feel blessed because just see what happened in Lebanon, right?
Oh my God, can you
It's
imagine?
heartbreaking for all of us. So
That was evidently it was an accident waiting to happen in Lebanon. They had stored that ammonium nitrate there for years.
yes.
Nobody knows what set it off, but I guess it just must have just reached some kind of a heat process inside there where it just combusted. Because wasn't terrorism, it was just the fact that it was stored there at the port.
Yeah.
One of my friends, relative, was actually killed from the blast. So I felt dreadful. I called her immediately because they live in Massachusetts. That's how I feel. I mean, you don't want to hear any loss of life, Purnima. So I called her because I know they're of Lebanese descent and they still have family living in Beirut. So I want to know, how is she, are they okay? Is everyone all right? And she said a cousin had been killed by the blast. So I thought, gee, that's horrible. And in America, the virus is running rampant. We're not using the face shields and the masks universally. And you really have to. You don't have a choice. Do you have to quarantine where you are because you have 2,000 cases? That's a lot.
That's a lot, yeah. We have to use them. So when we go out for groceries, shopping, or we are under a lockdown, but there are some times in the day when we can actually go out. So when we go out, we take all precautions. The supermarkets, they test your temperature and then allowing you inside the shop. Then you have to, disinfect when you, procure your goods, you have to re-disinfect again. So, all of us are taking precautions, which is very good. And they don't allow you inside the supermarket if you don't wear your mask, which is
That's
also good.
right.
That's good, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, you know what to do and just do it already.
Well, yeah, and it takes time. I know I have a staging area for my mail and my
Mhm.
newspaper. I don't read everything as soon as I get it. I let it sit. And if things come into the house that I can wash, I wash them with soap and water. But
Yeah.
it's not getting better here. Certain parts of the country are okay, certain not, because they're not following the guidelines. And we're having a big discussion about schooling.
Yeah.
What about you? Are they opening up schools there?
Not immediately. There is no conversation about schools so far.
Yeah, you
Uh,
can't, right?
so I mean, it's so premature to talk about schools. Kids can't go out, and let's see. I mean, maybe September, October. The schools have not started talking. The government has not started talking about schools.
Yeah, it's
So
too early, really.
that's, I think, a good way to go. Let's just take one step at a time, right? So that way I'm
Yeah.
grateful that I don't have to think about those things, as I mean, it'll take time. So
How about your husband, honey? Is he out all the time?
his job is very hectic, because he's one of the frontline warriors, right? Like healthcare workers, right? So he is a pulmonologist, and
Oh,
um,
that's his field.
sorry.
That's his field, pulmonology.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he has to treat patients every day, and like at home also we have a certain guidelines, rules, and regulations imposed by my husband, which we follow, because when he comes back from work, we have to take
Distance.
his stuff and sanitize it or disinfect it, and then allow him inside. And so I mean, but we are sticking to it because it's the way to go. I mean,
Oh, it's safe, and you don't want to contaminate anyone who's older than you guys, or even the kids. I mean, you got to be careful.
yeah, that's true. We
The
don't,
kids, right? Yeah. I mean, it's hard for him, I'm sure.
yeah. It's we everything has an expiry period if you allow it to get expired, right? Like
Yeah.
nothing is like forever. And if
No.
you follow the guidelines, if you are sticking to what the WHO says, or the government says, or the doctors say, and if you follow everything strictly, stringently, I mean, there is an expiry date and you'll come out of it safely. But what is it that is not understandable in that, right? That's what
And
surprises.
to me, it's totally understandable. I feel the same
Yeah.
way.
But
But
no, when I look at the media, when I look at certain politicians, saying certain things, it's so funny. Like, what is not understandable in not following guidelines, right? That's
yeah,
so funny.
it's like we're not fighting each other, we're fighting a virus. The virus
Yeah,
makes no distinction. If
yeah,
you have a certain genetic profile or a certain predisposition for disease, you're going to get the disease. So
yeah,
I don't understand this whole, oh, I want my freedom. Freedom for what? To contaminate yourself and others? And they're saying now 30 to 40% of the people who have the virus are totally asymptomatic. They never
yeah.
feel anything.
Mm.
So, but what they do is they spread the virus to everyone else. These rapid tests, once we get them here, they should go globally. It means you can test yourself every single day and determine if you're positive or negative.
Okay.
So with that kind of a test, you can then send your kids to school and, you know, everyone has it, right? So it's when you're pre-infectious, a lot of them are sensitive enough so that as long as you have the antigen, even though it hasn't expressed itself in any symptoms, and before it gets really too many billions of particles, these rapid saliva tests will identify who's positive and negative. Then if you follow the guidelines and you stay home, presumably we'll be able to crush the virus.
Yeah.
Because then only the healthy people go out.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
Right?
And hope it comes out soon. I mean, I hope it gets globally available soon.
That's how I feel. I mean, this is a time for all of us to come together. Right? This is not a time for us to not to share information. Anything that comes out should be open sourced and shared because it's affecting the entire globe.
I agree.